Yes, I will do glorify, give thanks, Kalamawe Haile Selassie first. Of course, you know where you are, it's the nest. Tiger's nest, of course, the mystic vibration, the shock of the hour is definitely in full effect. Glorify and give thanks to the Holy Trinity. Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. On a wonderful uprising, and a wonderful day, and a wonderful, I would say, procedure throughout the day that has been fulfilled, and all that has been done throughout the day, and the noonday sacrifice, give thanks to that, and the down setting of the sun. We are thankful for the blessed day and the prosperity that has come with such and all the success, and all the snares and gins and all obstacles were removed and broken down, crushed and smashed, and nothing stood in our way. King Emmanuel VII, Donya God, Jah Rastafari. This evening, I want to speak of the subject, of circumcision. And usually, when you speak of circumcision, you're speaking of the male aspect, but circumcision is done both male and female, to both male and female. But as far as the whole aspect of the circumcision of the male, you know that circumcision is basically removing the foreskin from the penis, like cutting it off. And that's basically it, circumcision. But we're going to look at it from different angles, obviously, this evening. This is something that was asked of me. It is a subject area that I have touched upon in different avenues, not necessarily on the internet. It's a key subject. There's a lecture I actually have that I haven't done for a long time, entitled Circumcised to God. Really, so some of the elements here will come out in that for sure. Some of the elements of that will come out here for sure. I'm going to read something here from webmd.com. Directly dealing with circumcision, the pros and the cons. And it says here, circumcision is the surgical removal of the foreskin, the tissue covering the head glands of the penis. It is an ancient practice that has its origin in religious rites. Today, many parents have their sons circumcised for religious or other reasons. When is circumcision done? Circumcision is usually performed on the first or second day after birth. Among the Jewish population, circumcision is performed on the 8th day. The procedure becomes more complicated and riskier in older babies, children, and men. Okay. So as it says here, the procedure becomes more complicated and riskier in older babies, children, and men. Right. How is circumcision done? During the circumcision, the foreskin is freed from the head of the penis, and the excess foreskin is clipped off. If done in the newborn period, the procedure takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Adult circumcision takes about 1 hour. The circumcision generally heals in 5 to 7 days. Is circumcision necessary? I heard a sea of people say no. The use of circumcision for medical or health reasons is an issue that continues to be debated. Is that so? The American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, found that the health benefits of newborn male circumcision outweigh the risks. But the benefits are not great enough to recommend universal newborn circumcision. Okay. The procedure may be recommended in older boys and men to treat the inability to retract, the foreskin, which is known as phimosis, or to treat an infection to the penis. Now, it says parents should talk with their doctors about the benefits and risk of the procedure before making a decision regarding circumcision of a male child. Other factors such as your culture, religion, personal preference will also be involved in your decision. What are the benefits of circumcision? There are some evidence that circumcision has health benefits, including a decreased risk of urinary tract infections, a reduced risk of some sexually transmitted diseases in men, protection against penile cancer, and a reduced risk of cervical cancer in female sex partners. Imagine that. What kind of prevention of balanitis, okay, inflammation of the glands, inflammation of the glands, and inflammation of the glands and foreskin. Now, this, as I said, is coming from WebMD. And let me just seal up with the risks here. What are the risks of circumcision? Like any surgical procedure, that's a good way to start. Like any surgical procedure, so it's surgery, yeah? Yes, as soon as the child born, surgery one time. Like any surgical procedure, there are risks associated with circumcision. However, this risk is low. Problems associated with circumcision include pain, risk of bleeding and infection at the site of the circumcision, irritation of the glands, increased risk of meatitis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Please forgive me, doctors. Inflammation of the opening of the penis, risk of injury to the penis. Okay, so that is basically that article there coming from WebMD and dealing directly with circumcision, pros and cons. As you could see, I'm not familiar with all of those medical terms, but please pardon me, we are all learning and we are all students, aren't we? All right, good. What I wanted to do before we go too deep, because most of us, when we hear about circumcision, it takes us right back to the Bible and the situation with Abraham and Isaac, and basically maybe not the first circumcised, but as far as the tradition and that whole concept as we know it, especially from a religious perspective, which we tend to equate with some level of history at times. This is really where it all began, and that is how the children of God were seen to be separate from the children of anybody else, the circumcision. So the children of Israel, those that were chosen of the Most High, they were circumcised. The foreskin of their penis was taken off, and that was done to Isaac and the whole household of Abraham. as the father, the patriarch of the children of Israel. And from that time, that tradition, began amongst the children of Israel, and even up to this time today now, the brothers of that profess I would say, hope it's no disrespect to no one, the theology of being a Hebrew Israelite. Because you can be a Hebrew, you could be an Israelite, and don't accept that you are Israelite. You understand, obviously, straight up, because the true Israelites are totally, have totally, received, given such a blow that they're in total amnesia then, let me put it that way. They're in a total amnesia, a state of amnesia. So they don't even know that they are the real light. Them is the real light. Them is the real light, Israelite, But those who have accepted that they're the true Israelite to the point that they are attempting to follow the tradition given to us biblically of the Israelites, I would say maybe to the best of their understanding and ability. These brothers, at least those that I know, do circumcise. Even in their mature elderly adult stage, taking up this concept, they go through that procedure. In fact, as far as I know, I don't know every single Hebrew Israelite groups, there seem to be so many. But once you become a Hebrew Israelite, you got to cut off the foreskin. Because that's the scripture. That's what the patriarchs did. I want to read something here. As I said, this is coming from tabletmag.com. And let me see here. This is okay, just give me a second. I know sometimes I be sounding very cool and groovy. It's just the spirit, the groovy. I like the term groovy. It's just the spirit, I hope you don't mind the groovy vibes, because sometimes some of you even call me and email as a priest. Be careful, sometimes you're too fiery and I don't want them to come and do nothing, and I don't want to lock you on. Wow, that one was hot. Wow, I was afraid to listen. Look, I don't even know. Listen, man, I just go with my spirit. Believe me, I don't pump up myself and I don't pep up myself, ready to go. No, trust me, I just in my vibes. And this is my vibes. You know what I mean? This is my vibes. My spirit move. You know what I mean? I free my spirit, I'm very free. I be here one moment, then the next moment I somewhere else. Trust me, sometimes I myself sit back and listen and watch videos I do and even lectures that I've done and little things, and I'll be listening and I say, wow. I say, my Lord, you have to take it easy, man. To myself, you have to take it easy, King. You can't just, how you will say that? Anyway, maybe yes. Let's continue. Yeah, sorry for that. I know. Yes, that's my one little vibe. Pardon. So yes, tabletmark.com. Male circumcision directly. No, man, that's not where we begin. Here it is. Bas relief depicts circumcision in ancient Egypt. That's where we are. And this relic is from 240 BCE, believed to be the oldest illustration of the ritual. The oldest illustration of the ritual of circumcision is seen on this bas relief of 2400 BCE in ancient Kemet. Male circumcision, particularly the Jewish ritual performed 1 week on 1 week old Jewish newborn known as bris or as a bris, has become in recent years a hotly debated practice, with proposed bans popping up across Europe and advocates, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, speaking out for and against the ancient ritual. Okay, All right. So there are bans, proposed bans, pardon me, popping up across Europe, and advocates, Jewish and non-Jewish, are speaking out for and against the ancient rituals. So there's a strong movement then of individuals that are against the whole practice of circumcision. A lot of people think it's brutal. A lot of people think that it's barbaric, you know. Just how ancient are we talking? Question. Open culture, open culture via Elif Batuman, telling you, pose an image of what is believed to be the oldest known illustration depicting circumcision. It's a recreation from around 2400 BCE of a bas relief found in an Egyptian tomb. Needless to say, ancient Egypt interactivists would have had a field day with this image. Okay. Now, that is just for us to at least have an understanding historically how far back the knowledge of this practice goes. And there we can see usually most of the ancient tradition practices and anything you can find, whether it's religious, medical, cultural, literal, whatever it is, mathematical, it usually comes from this same region, somewhere around here, somewhere around Egypt, somewhere around Sudan, somewhere around Ethiopia or Kenya, it's usually around there somewhere, the oldest, the first, as far back as you can go, anything positive, somewhere around there. That's just mystic. And the same thing now with circumcision. So if circumcision is considered to be a good practice, a religious practice, something that is holy in the eyes of the Most High, and then even on a medical level, according to modern day the medical practice of today, the benefits of circumcision really outweigh the risks. So there are risks. As with any surgical practice, there are risks, but the benefits are great, especially when compared to the risks, and the risks are very minute according to what the doctor was saying in the other article that we were reading. So we have that from a medical perspective now, as I said, and you got a good understanding of literally what is taking place when you remove the foreskin, which covers the tissue, the tissue covering the head gland, I should say. So the head of the penis is actually is considered as the glands of the penis as such, and that is what the skin. So the head of the penis. The head of the penis is continually exposed. The head of the penis is continually exposed. So you don't cover the head of the penis anymore. That's quite interesting, eh? The head of the penis. And remember the program, we did a program a few nights ago. And we were talking about, I can't remember what we were talking about, but I know somehow we mentioned the concept of the double head, because in Antigua they have this phrase where they say he think with free little head, That means he thinks with his small head. He don't think with his big head. So just like the penis has a head and the rest of your body have a head. So some people will say him, you don't know him. He don't think with his big head, he think with his little head. You understand? So that means you submit to the feelings of the lower chakra, to that area of the whole vibration of the energy. The base level is where You make your decisions then. Interested. Serious, listen to me, that's the science of this. From that level, for those who think with their little head, it is from that level of the chakra, the base level, not the crown, not the brow, that's the big head. But the red zone there is where many of us as man would make our decisions. You understand? The little head. So it is that same little head. And interesting, if you look at it good, the little head, it has this, it looks somewhat like the heart, Yeah. So the little head now, the glands, is now exposed. And outside of the bas relief, when you look at the god Asa, and then the god Mem, and the god Mem is also seen with that erected phallic. And throughout Kemet, there are different stories that speak about the phallic and the circumcised God. The God Mem, the creation story. And when he speaks about the Ra and Amun Ra and Mut and Shu and Tefnut and Nut and Geb, within one version of them stories, you hear about the God spitting out, and these elements were created, his children and his grandchildren. And then in other episodes, it clearly says that the God masturbated. Now tell me. And brought forth creation. Now tell me. Now words are very strange, because obviously there would have had to be some level of translation to come with that result. As I was saying on one episode that I did, words are so dread you can't use the word slave and slavery and enslavement for things that were done in the ancient motherland, or to be honest, for things that were done anywhere else on this planet, and compare that to the transatlantic episode and that which took place after. No, man, if that is slavery, nothing else is slavery. You got to find other words for these other things, because this is in a class art by itself. I'm telling you. So whatever you call it, even if you call it window shade, when you got to remove the word window shade from anything else, because this act, this Holocaust, this Holocaust, to be really clear, if that other thing is a Holocaust, well, this is a super Holocaust. I'm telling you, this is super Holocaust here, times a million. Yeah. So you got to be careful how we use words. Because to take the ancient holy glyph and just say that the god Mem or the god Amun masturbated, and just kind of bring it down to the levels that what the word masturbate means today, is it may be, serving it a grave injustice, man. You understand? Because in my book too, let me just bring this in since we're here. Since we're here, in my book, masturbation runs deep. Homosexuality amongst males is masturbation. I'm speaking of the phallic. I mean amongst females obviously too, but I'm speaking specifically of the phallic, and since we're speaking of the phallic, is the phallic we're talking about. The penis, the glands, circumcision of the male. Because in my book, in the reality of what the word is supposed to mean, there's nothing really called homosexuality. And you know the hate speech alert gonna come up now. Beep, 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 beep. Hate speech alert. Beep, beep. Yeah, in my book, there ain't nothing. No. For what sex is supposed to be, sexual intercourse. Well, they can't be no homosexual. Because what is done, the act that is done to certify you are a homosexual, that is not sexual intercourse, that is masturbation. Sexual intercourse is a holy thing. It's a godly thing. It was made to be performed in a specific way. When you do a specific thing with your genitals, then you can say that is sexual intercourse. But when you place the phallic in any hole that it can fit in, because that is not nothing, the manual of nature doesn't come with that, you know. If you could have fit it in the ear, I'm sorry, please forgive me, but I mean, I just gotta be clear. You know what I mean? As I said, not because we talking groovy, mean we ain't burning the fire, man. If you could have fit it in the nose, I mean, come on, man, cool out, man. Let's get real. You see, that's why the world is so sick, because we don't want to be real. So there's no manual that with nature that says, well, if you decide to be a man, use this hole. You get me? I'm very serious. So all of that is masturbation. Let me jump off of that and get back to this now. So in our ancient tradition, because we don't think like those who are trying to label us, because we don't think or meditate like those who give us even the language that we are speaking, those who actually profess to have translated our ancient writings, imagine that, because we do not meditate on that level, in that frequency, with that frame of mind, we don't look at it on the same ground. So I do not say that Mem nor anybody else masturbated and created nothing. Because the whole aspect of their expression went into nature, didn't it? This isn't triple X, man. Remember, nature itself is the woman. Nature itself is the woman. And as we all know, these gods and these figures are symbolic of principles. The principle of creation, the positive and negative principle, the male and female principle is natural. And out of Amun and Mut came forth Shu and Tefnut and Nut and Geb. So if all of these brothers have their wives, and according to the glyph says they spat, and their children were born, yet still their children are the children of them and their wives, it's obviously symbolic. It's obviously symbolic. Nobody masturbating. Yes, give me a break, Europe. It's sad when these people try to come and understand the philosophy that doesn't belong to them. And then we now, I mean, don't be upset with them. We now take up what they have interpreted from our philosophy and take it as if, yeah, this is gold. So Khufu built the pyramid, Menkaure built the second one, and it was built in 2500, whatever it was, BCE, and we just work with that because Pitri says so. And this world is that because Champollion said so. We got to be careful, brothers and sisters. This is some serious stuff. So I'm saying now, so biblically the circumcision is the chopping off of the skin of the penis. I know there are many cases where the exercise was not good at all. And you see now, in kind of wrapping this up, no pun intended, this is where the whole science of the esoteric is so important. This is a word I use all the time. Esoteric, metaphysic, metaphoric, symbolism. What else we just talk about? All these are the different things that we talk about. Subliminal, give thanks. You know what I mean? Because the science, all stories, how that part go down?
Belong to a Nancy.
All stories belong to a Nancy. I actually didn't remember it. I was going to say all stories were given to a Nancy. All stories belong to a Nancy. And just like how we were speaking, and we always speak of this, of the importance of taking the biblical scriptures and seeing them in their esoteric fashion. Oh, the big word, man. Their allegorical fashion, symbolic, subliminal, all of these things. We are missing out. We are missing out when we do not understand that the Bible is a highly symbolic book. I'm not going to beat down if it's history or not, because I think we go over this too many times. And our opinion is different to many. Maybe almost everybody else, to be honest, when I really sit down and check how I really view things. So I can't keep just saying the same thing just so somebody can feel comforted to believe I maybe look at it somehow similar to them. I'm not into that. I'm telling you that if you do not see the Bible in a symbolic fashion, you're in problems. You're going to do things that you need not to do, because I am saying the circumcision of the penis biblically is symbolic. I'm telling you. The circumcision seen on the walls of Kemet, yes, the old bas relief does show the, here it is, Honorable Young Prince. That's the bas relief 2400 BC, showing the whole act of circumcision there. And then, of course, we would understand, circumcision is not always seen in history, biblical or otherwise, as a good thing, man. And the circumcision goes beyond just the skin, even the penis in general. So you have, listen to me good, eh? We wind it down. You have historical stories of kings going to battle and coming back with arms, coming back with hands, coming back with penises, coming back with foreskins. David had to do something like that in the Bible to prove himself. I think it's 200 foreskins of the Philistines. So David went into battle, and to prove himself as to even marry the wife of the king, which is Saul, he had to come back with a couple hundred foreskins. So all the Philistines he fought with, he had to take their penises and chop off the foreskins and bring it back and drop it on the floor and say, yeah, count them. Here comes the bride. Now, I'm not saying that this has not happened in war. No, of course not. I'm not saying that people never sacrifice lamb and sheep. Of course they have. But when this lamb and sheep sacrificial rites and rituals were written, and oxen and all of that, it was symbolic. We have proven this in man over and over again. In the book of Deuteronomy, where it says the Lord has given us the fat of the kidneys of wheat. I haven't heard anyone explain that to me yet. The fat of the kidneys of wheat. In the Songs of Moses, in the Bible, the King James Version, Moses was giving praises to the Almighty for all that he has given unto Israel. Sheep from the bread of Bashan, the milk of Cain. I think he said the cheese of Cain. Listen to this. The fat of the kidneys of wheat. Wheat, the plant wheat. The fat of the kidneys of wheat. Wheat don't have kidneys. Wheat is not even a fatty plant like avocado. The language is symbolic. Anybody that understands symbolic language and religious language theologically knows that fat and kidneys are very symbolic languages. Kidneys. As the bull, I think it's Apis the bull, eats the kidneys of the king.
Which king?
Ramesses. Oh. And all the kings, that's the vibes. But it's symbolic, bulls don't eat kidneys. Shackle eat them something. You know what I mean? But it's just showing you, this is symbolism. So in the book of Deuteronomy there, with Moses now, singing the songs of Moses, giving praises to the Most High. After he says that, the fat of the kidneys of wheat. He says, thou hast given us the blood. Hear this, the blood of grapes to drink. The blood of grapes is grape juice, brother. What that name? What the thing name, man? Maybe that like Ripple Gone Flat Flapple. Oh man, Sanford and Son, man. No, not Shampoo, man. When they went in the Sanford and Son episode, when they went into the restaurant, Julio and Lamont, man, and El Negro brought the jar with the red wine. Sangria, yes. And Fred right, blood, and Sanford was drinking it and said, what does that mean? And Julio said, it means blood. And Sanford spit out a He said, no, Mr. Sanford, it's just a name. He said, oh, I thought it's something you brought back from the bullfight. Yeah, check it. Blood. But it's just a name. I'm saying that to say in the book of Moses, Moses said to the Most High, thou hast given us the blood of grapes to drink. So it's symbolic. Blood of grapes. Fat of the kidneys of wheat. But you can go around that one. It is symbolic language. Even down to the sacrifice of the animals. Remember, in Jeremiah, God clearly told them, I spoke not. These are scriptures that are foundation, that people act as if they don't speak. See, I spoke not to your fathers in the day that I took them out of Egypt concerning animal sacrifices and offerings. I delight not in the kidneys of bulls. He telling Israel that. Why was he telling Israel that? Because Israel has gone astray. Remember, when Hezekiah the king discovered the book of the laws of Moses, when the priest read the laws of Moses to King Hezekiah, he rent his clothes. That means he tore his clothes off and said, if someone could come and interpret this for us. Remember, the priest read it, he read it in the language that they overstood. But after reading the laws of Moses, because the book of Moses was lost for hundreds of years. So that means the children of Israel were going astray, doing all sorts of things that they were not supposed to do. So when they found the book of the laws of Moses and he read it to the king, this is the Bible I'm talking, The king tore off his clothes and said, oh, if someone could come and explain this to us. And according to the book, they took the laws of Moses to Huldah, a woman, Huldah, the wife of Shalom, the keeper of the wardrobe, and she dwelt at the university. You hear them high vibes there, Rastafari? And she could explain to them in the days of Hezekiah. It's Hezekiah or Helikiah? In the days of that great king. The meaning of the book of Moses. What I found interesting here is that they could have read the book. It's not as if they didn't understand the language like it was in some old language. They read it. It was a language they spoke. And after reading it, the king said, no man, we've been doing the wrong thing all the time. And he still needed more clarification. They needed someone wise to interpret it for them. The book needs interpretation. That is why we are interpreting it. And I'm telling you, the animal sacrifice that we read about is not as literal as you think. And we have done programs. Check the program, The Holy Grail. Go on the YouTube channel and check our program, The Holy Grail. And that is made extremely clear. You know, that animal sacrifice stuff. That's why the Christ always said in some of these books that they rip out, what is this sacrifice all about? God himself in the Old Testament said that. God himself, he said he delight not in these things. And not only delight not, you know. Even when he says obedience is better than sacrifice. But hear this, you know, when he makes it clear that I spoke not, that is to me the underline in scripture. I spoke not unto your fathers when I took them out of the land of captivity concerning animal sacrifices and burnt offerings. So come on, man, where are we going from there? The Bible is highly symbolic. It is extremely allegorical and metaphysical. It is. So a lot of things that we're reading, that we're taking literal as the heat of the sun, it is not as literal as it is. And it's easy for us to say, well, listen, everybody believe what they want to believe. That is true. That is true. But this is where I now see that the truth is the truth, and the truth must be spoken, and I will ever speak the truth. Because when you take things out of context, when you take things too literal, beyond what they are, you will go to the length of even cutting off the skin of your penis. Not because it's medically good for you, because I don't think it is at all. And you will do it to your 8-day-old baby. In the medical world, they cut off the skin, the foreskin of the penis of the child as soon as it is born. So at least it's not necessarily scarred by the memory of that. But at 8 days old, the child is already kind of, you know what I mean, with you already. Already there, feeling the vibration around it, and then you're going to carry it back to the hospital because this is the time we do it in the Jewish Hebrew tradition, to cut off the child's skin off of his penis. All them diseases and all the what you call it, the illnesses that they say circumcision could keep you from. Once you take care of yourself, you can still be kept from them things, man. Wash your skin with neem. And the periwinkle and the aloes. Real antiseptic. And clean yourself. Rosemary, as the lion says. Real antiseptic. So I'm just showing you that I honestly don't believe that when it says that, and you could pull the Bible, because I know my brothers will pull the Bible. My brothers will pull the Bible and say Leviticus this says, and Exodus whatever says, and Genesis says. Everyone in the household from 8 days old and up, the foreskin must be taken off. And this is why even the enemies, the Philistines, are referred to as the uncircumcised. And all the other heathen the uncircumcised. So that's why sometimes when we go into battle with them, we circumcise them. So listen to that, When we go into battle with them, we circumcise them and bring it back to our King. In the book of Deuteronomy, listen to me. This is Old Testament. This is the time when circumcision was going on in its holy form. This is the time of Moses. In fact, this is Moses speaking here. Deuteronomy chapter 10. And I'm going to read from the 12th verse. And now, Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God, and the earth also, with all that therein is. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart. What? Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart. Talk about surgery. And be no more stiff-necked. So I have a stiff neck. I can't move my neck. If you circumcise my heart, that gonna help my stiff neck? Oh, come on, priest. You're taking it too literal. It's a metaphor. Is that so? Since when? I mean, come on. Come on. So the metaphor stuff is very what would we say? Very convenient. Yeah. Things become metaphors and allegory when it's convenient to us, because obviously Moses can't be that crazy to tell us to circumcise the foreskin of our hearts. You know what you have to do because you can't. There is a foreskin of the heart, as the Honorable Priest Kailash Leonce even explained to I some years ago. We were reasoning on the same thing, and he said, actually, there is a foreskin of the heart. Okay, fair enough. That's good. All right. So let's circumcise the foreskins of our hearts now. How are we going to get that done? Which angle we getting in the body from? We're going to go under the shoulder. We got to break some ribs. Through the back, to the spine. How we get into the heart? This is barbarism, brothers and sisters. So why you don't sacrifice? Look, Moses is saying that this is a new commandment. This is a new commandment. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart. But it's symbolic. Of course it's symbolic. What are you talking about? Me you're telling that? Of course it's symbolic. And sacrifice or circumcise the foreskin of your penis is symbolic too. Well, it was said more times. You see? Them kind of thinking there. It was said more times. There are many things that were said in the Bible once, man. Once. Just once, And it's considered the paradigm of the gospel. So once or twice or how many times it's said is not really the point here. The point is that it was said. The 16th verse of the 10th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy, the words of Moses, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart. That's all. And it doesn't mean that. As I said earlier, the head of the penis, although it's called the head, the little head, it does have this shape of the heart. It looks like, if you examine it good, it looks like, that even the way it's made up, especially when it's erected and it's full with the blood. But the link is here now. That whole concept of the circumcision of the heart. What is the concept of the God Mem? What is the concept of the God Asa? And all of these ancient Kemetic gods, which bring us down to the Brahm, the Abram and the Isa, the Brahma and Isa, God and Christ, Brahma, Isa, which is Isa, Isaac, which is Abraham and Isaac, the God and the Christ. What is the circumcision? The first circumcised, as it was said in the medical aspect of it now. Circumcision helps to keep the penis clean. You see, so when the penis or the head or the heart is exposed, it's easier to wash. Any man know that when you don't wash your penis, there's a specific film that develops around it after a couple of days that will stay underneath, in certain secret parts and crevices, that you have to wash it properly, And that is why even in the ancient Islamic tradition, yes, I said it, in the ancient Islamic tradition, the Prophet refers to the daily prayer of the morning prayer and the noonday prayer and the evening prayer, and whenever else the brothers and sisters do salat. He compares that to washing. You actually wash before you pray. But it is showing you that if a man wash several times a day, if he wash 3 times a day, that's prayer, or 5 times a day, at the end of the day, he must be clean. So he's saying now that when you pray, when you go before the Most High several times a day, to cleanse yourself and to wash yourself, you must be clean at the end of the day, because you went back periodically, to the well to cleanse yourself, and you physically washed yourself, at least as they do in that ancient tradition. They wash themselves to some degree before they pray. So it's the same thing that is seen with the penis. You got to remember, the penis is the life giver, man. The magic wand. Not just a joystick, but the magic wand. The wand. You understand? That's why the gods, as they would say, masturbated into nature and children came forth. Who masturbate and bring children? What are you talking about? Listen, man. Check your language. So that Godhead now, or the glands, or the exposed region, the exposed region is kept clear. So this is why, if you notice that when you see the Christ figure, or in this case, most of the pictures of Jesus, in some of the European pictures of Jesus, you see Jesus with his heart literally exposed. Sometimes he has the throne, the thorn crown around the heart, and some flames on the heart, all kind of Freemasonic gestures that you may see around the heart. But the heart now is exposed. That means you can see the heart. Now, that is quite interesting, because the heart itself, according to what Moses is saying, is something that needs to be circumcised. That means it should be exposed then. Circumcise your heart. When you circumcise the penis, the head is exposed. When you circumcise the heart, that means the true you, the heart, who you are, free up yourself, is exposed. Because you see, you need to comprehend the power of the heart. Because the heart energy is said to be even more than that of the brain energy, because the frequency of the heart is said to be 10 times more powerful than the frequency of the brain. So this is why when we speak about the power of thought and thoughts becoming things, we always show you that these thoughts they're not going to become things unless you incorporate feelings into this equation, meaning that you have to bring in who? The heart. So the heart now comes into play, and the frequency of the heart, your feelings, your emotion, love and everything. That's why hatred and all of that is dread. Your heart. This is not the brain, you know. Your heart, how you feel. You could actually feel it coming from that area. Your heart, the vibration, when connected to your thoughts and how you think, what you want and what you desire, you compare it to your emotions and your feelings. Man, you start to bring it into reality. You're actually painting it on the canvas of your mind and the canvas of your heart. So the heart is very key. Who you are really comes from the heart, you know. So this is why you must have what is known as a transparent heart, a transparent chest and a transparent heart. So we can look through you and see your heart. Don't hide your heart. No pretending. No this and no that. Just be yourself and make sure yourself is clean. So your heart is exposed. Your heart is in a position to get washed daily. So we can wash the heart. Just like the penis now also represents the heart, as we said already, is exposed because it is circumcised. The skin is taken away. The veil is taken away. When Christ was crucified, the veil was rent in two. And the Ark of the Covenant was what? Exposed. The same Ark is the heart, because the commandments according to the scripture shall be what? Written on your heart, written on your ark. And at the crucifixion of the Messiah, the ark or the heart was exposed. So you see the Jesus figure, the Christ figure, with the heart exposed as the Messiah. And that to me is very symbolic to what Moses is saying in Deuteronomy, to circumcise the foreskin of the heart. It is not a literal thing. It is symbolic. And the same way is the symbol of the sacrifice of the foreskin, circumcising it and severing it from the penis so that the gland can be exposed. There is rich metaphysics in this, my brothers and sisters. There is rich allegory in this. It's sad that we have lost the essence of symbolism. Even if a person does not balance off the historical aspect or put it in its right perspective, they should at least begin to have some more reverence for allegory and symbolism and the esoteric levels. Because the moment you begin to do that, you will naturally understand that this needs to be balanced off here. But you see, some of you are afraid because you are just as dogmatic as the other fellow. And you are afraid. I have proven this. I've proven this with the biblical land of Israel. I don't want to go too deep into that, but it's a shame that nobody at all, I don't want to say nothing bad about it. Well, I wouldn't say nothing bad. If I say anything, it's the truth, but I don't even want to say it like that. But no one has, especially from those who carry the concept of those who circumcise themselves then. Let's put it that way. Because if you understood the true biblical land of Israel concept, you would stop mutilating yourself. Sorry to say it so, but that's what it is, man. And you have a child coming, you're going to mutilate him too? So yeah, the circumcised God. And again, circumcision, the cutting away of the penis foreskin, it can be dangerous, obviously. It can be detrimental. There are cases of individuals who say they're so sorry they ever did that. Penis, they're swollen around the edges and it has never gone down. And all of these weird things. Don't let religion and dogma lead you into doing things that, is just way off. I'm not into the mutilation. There was a video I watching with some kind of Japanese. Yeah, he's a fella for real. And this fella here, what he's doing now, and he encouraged the Japanese, not Japanese, the Chinese in Africa. And they're making a lot of videos with the people in Ethiopia that have that lip plating, the women them that have the lip plating, that stretch their lip. And the man making mock of them people tradition and he's just making a mock of them. And I say, watch them judgment people there, But I just brought that up to say even that those kind of traditions. Because we can say they're cultural, and I respect them for that, That's their culture, that's their tradition, you know what I mean? That's why I'm upset with anybody that's trying to mock them or exploit them or anything. But to me, them things extreme. Some people say they did that to ward off the slave people when they came. Some people say they do it as a form of beauty, and it may be beauty for them of that tribe. But a lot of these extreme behaviors, markings and cutting off of this and that and doing that to your lip, in my book, them is extreme. And I put circumcision in the same boat as all those things. So do give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life. And I would say, as I always say, you see, if you know your Bible in a man, and you do not know your history, and history comes with other things, like the astronomy and all of these things, your African heritage, and you understand our ancient traditional way of storytelling and history telling. So if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, you will cut off your foreskin unnecessarily. And it takes some real eyes to realize the real eyes.
Nice.
Realize that is amongst us. Holy One will eyes. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Blessed.